Welcome to the Emo Social Club podcast, broadcasting to you live from emosocialclub.tv. I am Brian.
And I'm Lizzie, and we're here this evening on a special Monday episode with our new friend, another Brian Walker of A Day Without Love. How are you this evening?
I'm doing well. Just having a nice day. Gonna talk emo stuff with emo social clubs.
Most emo of stuff. Tell us a little bit about your band. I know we found you through Instagram and through Twitter and through all the socials, but tell us a little bit about yourself and A Day Without Love.
Sure. So A Day Without Love is me. It's my project. Sometimes I play it as a 3-piece. Sometimes I play it as a 4-piece. Most of the time I play it solo. I started it out of a poem I wrote in 2008, but I actually started a project officially in 2013. Because in 2008, I was writing this book called 365 of Being Alive. You can't Google it. It never happened because the hard drive crashed. But the poem was called A Day Without Love because I stopped. Because I stopped a spousal abuse incident in college, and the person went to jail, the abuser, things like that. And I wrote about that, and then flash forward to 2012. I was in a band playing like pop music, and it was just like a Long Island local band that really like didn't do too much. And then Hurricane Sandy happened, and I got homeless because I wasn't able to live in my house, and I was like couch surfing and bench surfing. And I remember I was like singing on this bench, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take those words, A Day Without Love, and make this my music. And it's going to be about rising above your own adversity and struggles through my own lens, whether they'll be my own stories or stories from other things that I've experienced like close to me. And I recorded Island. And Island was like my first studio EP with my friend Jake Detweiler. And then like 2013 to like 14/15, I was just playing as a full band, playing in basements in Philly. In 2015, things changed for me. I was like, you know what? I think I want to go the DIY label/touring route. And then 2015 to current, minus the 2 years of uncertainty. I've just been touring, streaming, gigging, and things. Yeah.
That was the nicest way I've ever heard anyone describe the pandemic at all. The 2 years of, uncertainty.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I don't want to be like Family Guy, as cringy as a show that is, and be like, it never happened, like, that Berlin Wall episode. But I definitely recognize it happened, but like, I think we all kind of took a collective pause on what we're used to doing. So, yeah.
In certain places. We definitely paused, but it also is like, it's uncertainty, but it's also like, I for a lot of musicians we've talked to, it's been a bit of a reset of like, you get that time to yourself to kind of figure out what you want to do, what your passions are, what drives you, and like you can kind of try new things. And it's not like you're not selling tickets to the show because there's no show, so you can just kind of hang out and figure it out.
Yeah. No, completely. And like for me, I digitally put out a documentary, like doing soft screenings with a videographer, and I wrote a book. I put out 13 like short EPs and collabs, and I worked on an album and took vocal lessons. Yeah.
That was just during the pandemic?
Yeah, during the past 2 years.
Okay,
yeah.
That was very productive, honestly.
Yeah.
That's leveling up.
Yeah. I'm going to need you to leave some books for the rest of us to write.
Thank you. I mean... yeah, I mean, I won't lie, it was my trauma response. Like, I know a lot of us hide during trauma. I kind of rise to the occasion because, like, a lot of people are, like, fight or flight. I'm kind of more of a fighter. Like, before doing music, I did martial arts. And I used to teach, like, self-defense lessons and things like that. So, like, the worse things get, the more productive I get. And that's kind of, like, a big reason why I'm in therapy, because life shouldn't be that way. Sure. You know what I mean?
Relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lizzie's like, I see myself in this story.
So with that, you again, like you kind of mentioned, you started doing some like online content, and one of them was Safe X Sound, this kind of film series you did. And can you just go a little bit more into it? I just feel like the premise of it is really interesting.
Surely. So in 2019, actually, this goes back to 2018. So 2018, I did a photo shoot with this photographer named Brianna. And I just said, like, and Brianna was like, I've always wanted to make a documentary of a band. And I was like, well, I'm not a band, but I do tour, like, a lot. I would love to do a documentary with you, just covering culture and music. And I was just like, just shoot it. I'll do the interviews. I'll take it from there. And then we noticed, like, a common theme of, like, conversations on diversity, inclusion, and safety and consent. And, Brianna hired someone to, like, make a script out of just all the audio. And then she edited it. I scored it. And I'm the main character of the documentary. And we did a series of pilot screenings in 2021. And now it's, like, in the festival circuit, gracefully getting rejected, unfortunately. And it's going to go public, like, once all the festivals say, all right, you're not Sundance material, and which I never wanted that.
Listen, we could bully if we all bully Sundance. They have to let you in.
Tweet Sundance.
That is true. Like all thousands of emo tweets Sundance. That would be
Dear
wild.
Sundance.
That would be very wild. I wouldn't even know what to say to that. But yes, that's what happened, and it was good response, and the film will be pretty accessible in a few months, just via YouTube.
Very nice.
Yeah, cool.
It's like literally just looking at everything you've done, like in your time of being a musician. I'm like, God damn it! Like, this is so much stuff, so much content, and so much like interesting things. So I'm sure over the next little while, I'm just going to keep being like, how do you do all this stuff, and how do you make it all happen?
Certainly.
Let's also mention why we have you on for tonight for this episode, because you have a new single coming out on April 29th called Show Friends. Is it Show Friends like, hey, these are my friends? Or is it friends like, oh, I go to a show and these are all the friends from the show?
Or both.
Or both. Oh, okay.
It's actually both. It's both. It's
okay.
both. So, like, to give more context and to tie the documentary in, the record that I wrote with Kitsy and like literally 12 other people is called A Stranger That You Met Before. And the concept came out of the documentary and that specific tour that I created called the Storytellers Tour, because I wanted to make a record that was multi-genre, but it was multi-genre based on the styles of musicians that I tend to play with when I'm on tour or like when I play like locally. And I also thought the title was about, what is a friend? It's a person that you met before that feels more familiar. So a stranger that you met before. The title Show Friends is about me meeting people, but also hoping for this more inclusive world as like an African-American creator who's like exploring all these different spaces across the US.
It is both.
Yeah, it is. Sorry.
No, please. And it's just one of those things where I'm like, I really don't like asking about like names of stuff, and it's just kind of like, yeah, it just is what it is, and the song is what it is, and we're from the emo scene, so sometimes titles are just long sentences and they don't actually have anything to do with the song itself. So sometimes you're like, I don't know if it's about show friends or it's just like, hey, yeah, show friends.
Like, look at my friend, like Jim Carrey meme. Like, look at my friends.
Yeah. This is where I keep. Keep my friends if I had any.
Oh my god.
Yeah. No. Totally.
Yeah. And I'm going to ask a question here because it really confused me when somebody wrote it in our Instagram asking for some questions. So we won't do all of these right now. We'll do some a little bit later. But one thing I'm going to ask is what your favorite thing is about Texas, since we're talking about touring and house shows. Somebody wanted to know what your favorite thing about Texas is.
Okay. So I'm going to say two things because like Texas is very politically like not emo, for lack of a better word. But I'm going to tell you, their barbecue really fucking slaps, and it's just a shame how many conservatives are there. But their barbecue is like amazing, and my brother lives there. And my brother's not one of those conservative people at all. He's a very, very cool dude. As with my sister-in-law, Krista and Fred, they're like very good people. And, you know, I spent time with them for Thanksgiving and I had some life-changing barbecue. And I also can owe Texas to South by Southwest, Austin, probably the most progressive city in Texas. And, you know, the music community really welcomed me and with arms wide open. Damn, did I really just
Creed?
Sir,
Yeah.
that was Creed.
Brian kept trying to play
Thank you.
Creed last night at our DJ set.
Creed.
I didn't
shit.
try to. I said I could play Creed. As I scrolled past it, I was like,
Yeah, and I
could
said,
play
listen,
this.
we got to build up to it if we want to play Creed at this emo night.
So hard to build up to Creed, though. We don't have
It's
that
actually
kind
just
of time.
playing some Buck Cherry in the background and just full sending it.
Ooh, yeah, no, we don't do that.
Wow.
It must have been your brother then, because the name is Fred of the person who asked that question. So must have been your brother who was asking that one. So shout out for the barbecue and the being an emo in the state that wants you to not be.
Yeehaw.
Yeah.
I want to talk about a little bit of your podcast because I first started to see people on Twitter interact with you and I was like, oh, that's a cool premise. So it's called Dreams Not Memes, which I think is great. But you basically want to talk to a lot of people. That is pretty, and it sounds pretty similar to like the premise of your film that you have. So what kind of jump started this, or did it all kind of like intertwine together? And how are the 1,000 interviews going?
So, a lot of interviews in Africa are being scheduled right now. Literally, someone from Nigeria emailed me this morning. I'm just trying to work out timing. And Africa is pretty hard with time scheduling, as well as Asia. So, like, I'm trying to get most of Africa and Asia covered. I like slowed down on my release schedule because I used to release 5 days a week. And then therapy told me you should sleep. So,
Silly.
there's that. But but it's going well. I mean, I might edit an interview tonight or later this week with some local folks from Philadelphia. But no, I'm thankful. I mean, I would love like sponsorships and all that other blah blah blah. But like, I'm at 325 interviews. Most of them are anywhere between 25 to an hour and a half long. I've learned a lot. And, the podcast was born out of touring, not the documentary. The podcast has nothing to do with the documentary at all. And it came out of the fact that, like, I used to YouTube people that I met on tour, whether it was, like, someone on the street. It was kind of like man on the street type of interviews, except not cringy in the sense of, like, me asking, like, very inappropriate questions like you see on TikTok. It was more like, hey, tell me why you do what you do. And, we connected because of pizza or a show or whatever it might be. And I wanted to turn to a podcast because my friend Brandon came up with this idea of like, you're not just a storyteller and musician. You're someone that wants people to show a little bit more of themselves. So I thought to myself after watching a Snoop Dogg podcast, like, how can I do that for the everyday person as opposed to like only interviewing celebrities, which is like what happens a lot. So I wanted to make this podcast where I make it completely global and interview 1,000 people from all 194 countries, at least one person from every one of them. And it's been very interesting. I definitely am aware certain countries are going to be like hard just with ongoing current events. Like, I don't know how I'm going to get anyone from Ukraine, but I have interviewed Ukrainians, if that makes any sense. Or like, I don't know how I'm going to get someone from North Korea, but I'm aware that some people from North Korea escaped North Korea. So stuff like that. But it's been a process.
I can't even imagine the logistics of all of that.
So far, it's been word of mouth. Like a friend knows a friend who knows a friend, and it just keeps going. So yeah,
Wow. It's like when building like a network for like playing shows with bands and like getting on gigs and getting venues out of state, or like having somewhere to like, you know, crash before you drive to the next city the next morning. It's like that, but you're like, I just want to know about you and I want you to talk to me on my podcast. And I know that you're currently in Asia.
yeah, that's actually happened. Like it definitely, it's not an ego trip, but it definitely blows my mind that there are people who woke up at 4 or 5 in the morning just to talk to me for like 45 minutes, and also know that it's going to get views. Cause like, you know, I don't have like a big podcast, but like just to know that that person knows it's going to get them some American listeners, which it does, or like people from other places, like it's been pretty cool.
Now, where are a couple that you have had so far? So you already said like Asia, Nigeria. What's one that like maybe stands out so far? They're like, oh, okay, that's different.
I got to talk to people from Micronesia and like the islands associated with Micronesia, like Guam, Eritrea, things like that. I also got to talk to someone who was about to spend 3 years in Antarctica. So that was really cool.
Okay.
So yeah.
I'm like,
That's a
no,
choice. I mean, I would not
Yeah.
do that. I mean, good for them, but that's a real choice.
I wouldn't either. I wouldn't, but we talked about it. Yeah, it is. It is. You're so right. It is a choice.
You know, Fall Out Boy is the only band to play on Antarctica. That might not be true anymore, but it was true.
I was
For
about
me.
to say, I'm like, are you lying right now?
No, they were. I'm gonna have to look this up. But they were at the very least the first band that did it. But I'm sure that by now other bands have been like,
But what song
we're gonna
was
do
it?
that. It was a concert. And was it
A
for
whole-ass
anybody?
concert?
I don't know.
I was about to say the polar bears,
Yeah, there are no polar bears in Antarctica, Lizzie.
the penguins.
Yeah, I mean,
There are penguins.
See, the penguins, they have to have a good time too.
They also don't like Mania.
That's upsetting. That's honestly atrocious of those little penguins.
Okay,
Get
I
better
might
taste
be.
penguins. Are you wrong? Are you lying right now?
So there was a story that they were going to do it, and this was from 2008. So they were going to do it in March or I think late March of 2008. And then there's an article that's like, oh, they had to cancel it because of bad weather. And it's like, it's Antarctica. Do they have
All
good
of it's
weather?
bad, isn't it?
like it's
Yeah.
I
always
just go
bad
up
weather.
there,
Yeah,
the
well,
penguins, and eat
that's
it.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, so they were doing it to do it as a like world record thing of being the only band that's performed on every continent, which like awesome, but also maybe it
Like
hasn't been
what?
done because
Yeah.
you shouldn't do it.
No.
Just 4 songs, short set, done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the open mic set.
Yeah, I'm not finding anything now that they actually have gone back to do it, but you know they wanted to.
Upsetting that Diet Skeet Davison over here is lying right now.
We're gonna stop
Wow.
this. This is going to stop now.
So, Brian, unlike Fall Out Boy, you will be touring, maybe not every single continent, but you're touring soon within the next couple of weeks of this live stream. So you're doing just a small tour to start out, but you also said before we went live, you will be doing a U.S. tour. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So yeah, it's always been a dream of mine to like tour the entire U.S. And I know like given the break / uncertainty of the pandemic, it's harder to do. But thankfully, I've been able to book the majority of the U.S. in various stints, and I have like a 1-week stint across the U.S. for Glacier Musical Fest in Wisconsin. So I'm doing like a full, well, not like a 10-day Midwest tour, like making a stop in Chicago and things like that. and going to work my way back. Then I'm going to take a week break. I'm going to go to Aruba for my friend's wedding. Then from the end of June all the way up till August, I'm going to do a full U.S. tour, minus New England, because I'm going to do New England in the fall since I'm moving up there. And I'm going to be promoting my 2 singles, Show Friends and Caffeine, via Laugh Cuts, rack up a lot of emails, and then I'm going to drop the record in the fall. So. And yeah, I booked this whole thing, and I still have a few more locations to do, like Omaha, Nebraska, but I'm probably going to call the tour the Teamwork Tour, because a lot of teamwork.
Giving the credit to everybody else on the
I don't know why that was funny, but yeah.
No, I mean, like, look, every tour is teamwork, but sometimes the artist is just like, hey, thanks, team. I'm going to go be celebrated. But it's like, no, it's all of us, or this wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
The only band that has played on Antarctica is Metallica.
Oh, well.
So they're the only band that has played. Yeah, they've been headbanging ever since.
Wow.
Yeah. So there you go.
Absolutely. So those Penguins could have been having a better time with Mania. I mean, I'm just saying.
Look, if you want to play Antarctica, we have to be nice to the Penguins now, because Penguins have a very strong network, and they will hear it from the other Penguins. It'll take longer because they can't fly, but they will hear about it, and they will be like, you know, I heard that they were making fun of us for being penguins. And now all of a sudden, nobody from the Emo Social Club, whoever's been on, ever's trying to book a show in Antarctica, is going to get to play, because those penguins hate us.
Wow.
Penguin hate. I can't believe.
You got to be careful around the penguins.
So, like, what do they communicate with their zoo penguins, their brethren in the zoos?
Yeah, they have a strong mafia-like network of zoo
I don't know
penguins.
if I like this anymore.
This got real.
This is giving me like Despicable Me vibes, but with penguins.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, I think I'm just thinking of that movie with the penguins that are like...
Madagascar penguins?
Yeah, that's the one. Where they're like, you didn't see anything. And it's like, yeah, that's the mafia. That's a penguin mafia. The Antarctic Penguin Mafia, by the way. Great band name, and I'm taking it, and I've called it right here. No one can have it.
As you should.
Oh, my God. So when will you be dropping some of these tour dates that are more extensive? And who else are you bringing out on tour with you? Or is it just going to be you and some locals?
Mostly it's me and some locals for the most part. Like, I'm playing art spaces, beach houses, houses, venues, the whole nine. And, like, I thought about bringing someone, but, like, at least local affiliate, I really don't know any bands that have the capacity or would want to, like, share the work involved with tour. And that's not, like, a diss on my scene. It's just, I don't like, I know a lot of people, but I don't know anyone that's like willing to say like, hey, are you down to like help me book 43 dates, you know, and like make sure we both get paid. Like, I just don't know anyone that's willing to do that. Like, there's a lot of people that want to hop on, but there's not too many people that are willing to like actually work together. So that's why I did that. But for the first leg, I'm probably going to announce that in the next 1 to 2 weeks, like right after Show Friends comes out. And for the second leg, like the much more extensive one, I'm probably going to drop that like before mid-May.
I also saw on your Twitter too that you posted about looking for PR, like, you know, companies to work with, and how expensive a lot of them are, which I feel like a lot of people don't talk about in general. So like, and you've kind of been obviously doing a lot of this on your own DIY and working with a lot of people. What kind of was like the breaking point of being like, oh, maybe I should try to hire like a PR person, and then be like, never mind, silly.
So, you know, PR companies have been trying to reach out to me like for years. I even dated someone in PR. And I was just, and she would tell me how much she charged her clients, and I was like, couldn't be me. Because I just look at it like from just a pure numbers perspective. Like, I'm just going to keep it real. I'm going to keep it probably realer than anyone's ever going to keep it real. Last year, I made $82,000 from my day job. Through music, I made less than $10,000. So I made almost $100,000. My rent is $1,900 a month. With healthcare, I have to pay $600 a month because of therapy and like other self-care maintenance. So like, if you do the math, and then plus groceries and dating and all that stuff, where can I get $2,000 a month? To make $2,000 a month just strictly on streaming, I need about 800,000 streams. Last time I checked, most emo bands aren't getting 800,000 streams a month. So then my other thing is like, look at the return on investment or return on, you know, ad spend or PR spend. So we call it ROPR, ROPR. And we have to think, if you want $2,000 a month, are you guaranteeing me 800,000 streams or $2,000 in merch sales? No. So like, I didn't know what do you want me to do? Twerk on TikTok? Like make a sex tape? Like I just really don't know. I want the help, but I just can't. I can't justify it. And I don't mean it to be rude. I don't mean it to be crazy. It's just more like I can't justify it. And like today, I got an email from someone who was like, you know, a friend sent show friends to me, which I don't know who that friend was.
Someone leaked it.
I have been pushing show friends, but someone leaked it. Ooh, spooky. And they go, I really think I could put you in Rolling Stone. And I was like, cool, but at what cost? Because, you know, I've been hearing this for years. $2,000 a month, $10,000 a month. And it's like, $10,000 a month is $120,000 a year. And I was like, for me to do everything that I've done, like independently and afford $120,000, I got to be making like 300, 400K, you know? Yeah. And I'm just not there. And if I am, thank God. Thank you for allowing me to afford 10K a month, but I don't know what to do. So I thought, I'm just going to bring this to Twitter and keep it real, because I don't think enough people are being that blunt and honest, because it needs to be discussed. Like, is this the invisible glass or the ceiling that none of us are discussing? And I don't get it.
I think it really because the thing is, you can like submit and do your own type of placement as long as you're savvy enough and know how to like curate a press release, reach out to people, have a good social media presence. I mean, there are people who have gotten magazine placements who absolutely have no business being in publications whatsoever. And like, you know, they probably pay somebody, but it doesn't mean there's other people who have made it in publications who don't have that traditional PR backing or like that traditional management backing. It is really about just being like so visible and having that hustle and being like, you know, open about it on social media is also the biggest thing too, if you don't have that type of representation.
That was really helpful. I won't go to the extreme of the things I suggested earlier.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can pitch and do whatever you really want. You just have to be very persistent and like, I don't want to say harassing, but that's just a me thing. Because I'm great at harassing people. It's one of my entire degrees. But like it's kind of like being like really persistent and like showcasing that like you are reliable, you are like dependent, you're quick to respond, you are dependable and reliable, and like you're just like a genuine person for the most part. That's how you'll start to kind of build your repertoire when it comes with wanting to get placements, whatever that may be, because that could just be like a Spotify placement, it could just be like an article placement, or you could just like blow up on TikTok because you posted something. And then like Rolling Stone or AP will grab you and say like, okay, like, look, here's a feature. And then they're like, okay, that's it. The kids are talking about it. The kids like it. That's pretty much what they're governing now is what do the kids like? Because there's people in charge who don't understand what the kids like. So they're literally just going online and saying, this looks good. Vibes. Let's go with it. I work in that type of industry, and that is literally what it is. It's what it is.
I think this is the biggest amount of gold that I've ever been given in any interview. So thank you. I'm serious. I'm not kidding at all.
It's really like back in the day when I was doing music, it was like, I want management. And the majority of that was because I was lazy. And also because I felt like I was carrying like everybody in the band with me and like trying to get everybody on the same page and be a leader. But it's like, I need like that team aspect of it is just always going to be so much easier than trying to do it on your own with no support at all. And I always thought like, man, if somebody is reaching out to you, like if you're getting contacted by people, then you must be doing something right. But it doesn't necessarily mean you have to work with them, because now you know that you're getting noticed. If you're not getting noticed, then that's the issue. And you got to work until somebody's like, yo, we see like we can monetize whatever you're doing. We'd love it if you like wanted to work with us. And you go, that's awesome to hear. I don't, but thank you. And then you just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
You just got to leverage it.
I die. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I like this. This is gold.
Yeah, this is also just open advice to anybody, because like,
we don't like, listen, you do what you need to do. I am more than open to chat with people. I used to do like PR and such like that, like on my own time, but I'm way too busy to do it on my own time anymore, because I'm like, you know what, I get it. But like even us, we like talked about like, do we need to get like somebody to help us with like PR or something? And we're like, first of all, yeah, we can't really afford that because it's a lot of money. But also it's like, do we really want to have that type of like not as much control? I'm also very like anal about like who I allow to respond to emails and when. But I definitely understand where that all comes from. So it's just open advice to everybody on how to operate.
No, I love it, because it's like, at one end, I want that like Brooklyn vegan, even though I eat a lot of meat. You know, I want to be featured on that. I
listen, some of those bands are probably not even vegetarian or vegan. Okay, just
like I want to be on Pitchfork and make my great grandpa proud because he owned a farm. Like, you know, I want those things.
Love it.
But I also don't want, you know, Alyssa Dickerson, that's a made-up name. If you're a real person, I'm sorry, emailing on my behalf because like some community wants me to sing to like an organization for like Black literacy. Like, I want to respond to that, you know? I don't want Alyssa doing it for me. Like, I just want Alyssa to like roll up the interview and gang, you know? That's how I feel. So, you know?
Yeah. It's also usually you want Alyssa to like know the people to like get you in the door, which is usually you're just like hiring somebody who has an email list. And it's like, so if I just had your Rolodex, which for kids listening, that's like a contact list on your phone, but it's physical and it's a real tangible little rolling.
I thought you said Rolex and I'm like, a watch?
Lizzie, I was talking to a fake child that would be for some reason listening to this podcast, who's like, first you're going to tell me that there's a VHS tape and what the hell is that? And now you're telling me that people used to have business cards in a little thing on their desk. And now you're like, wait, what is that, Brian?
I mean, I carry our and mine business cards with us in my backpack. And I'm like, here you go. I'm like, that's it. That's all
No, a Rolodex is something you would have. I hate that I'm explaining this to you. I thought for sure you and I were going to be on the same page.
It's on the same page.
Yeah, thank you. It would sit on your desk, and you would you give a business card to somebody. They take your business card and they put it in the Rolodex. It's essentially like having your contacts on your phone.
Is it like that little thing that you flip through and you're like that?
Yes. You know what? To reduce it down to its most basic thing, yeah, it's the little thing that you flip through.
I seen it in like movies.
Oh, God. Oh, I'm so upset. It's like I usually feel like, oh yeah, I remember when that record came out, and now it's like, oh yeah, I remember Rolodex.
I feel like this is This is the elder emo thread right here.
Yeah.
So I'm picking up. I'm picking up.
I'm picking up what you're putting
in that
down.
I'm the elder emo, and I keep trying to figure out where the like age line is between Lizzie and I, where it's like, what do I know that you are like, I've never heard of that before?
There's the line, because I
This
get
is one
grouped
of the
into
most
there
upsetting.
too, because they're like, you're 27, you're elder emo, and I'm like, are you sure? Because I got one right here, and it seems like we're not always on the same page with with what happened during time frames.
True.
It's me.
All I'm gonna say is, a lot of people think I'm still in college, but I had a MySpace. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Hell yeah.
I had a MySpace
See?
when I was 13 for 6 months before Facebook became a thing.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Nonsense. It's like, no. I had MySpace in high school and college,
Same.
and then my freshman, maybe junior year, was actually when Facebook came out. So just to give you reference, and it
Gotcha.
was when it was still only available on college campuses. So you had to have a college email in order to get Facebook.
Email. Yep.
That is my age. That is how old I am.
I can't believe you just did the
Gotcha.
plot of The Social Network.
Look, I watch it, and then it's like, there are people who just go online and they can just sign up for a Facebook account. It's like, no, I was in a world where you couldn't just do that. You had to be
Well, you
in
know what?
college.
So I was in my senior year of high school when Facebook came out, and what was really funny is a lot of us would get accepted to the college that we wanted to get accepted to. And like, I don't know if they still do this, but they give you your college email before school even started.
Yeah.
So what kids would do is they would get their .edu email, and they would go to like the high school library, log into Facebook, and be like, I'm going to meet all these hot people via this Facebook group that I'm never going to meet. I'm just going to add them. And then like freshman year, my roommate literally had a shirt that said, "You looked better on Facebook." I was like, that's rude.
Oh my
I'm
God.
not friends with him. I'm not friends with him.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like,
don't know.
I would
the
not
end
be
of the story.
surprised if there's something that's like that now. It's like, you look better on Instagram or TikTok or Tinder or
Yeah.
Hinge. Like, I would not be surprised, because we know how
Yeah,
people
whatever
are.
it is. Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
I know that he
No,
took
you're
it
right,
from,
you're right, you're
you
right.
looked better on MySpace. Like, because I remember that shirt too.
It's generational, bestie.
Exactly.
It's just
Yeah,
all.
exactly.
I'm still not over the Rolodex thing. I'm
A lot
really
of
upset about it.
craziness.
You're like, oh, you out of all people. No, I don't know.
It's okay.
I never had my own business card till I made it. I have my own full-time job, and they didn't even give me business cards. I made my own.
True.
Every band
That's DIY.
needs a business
That's
card.
punk.
Every band don't need a Rolodex.
I use Vistaprint.
I use
whenever I print them.
moo.com. It's nice. It's nice, and because
check out the Moo.
I teach, they don't know I'm a teacher, so I can just use the EDU email and get the 10% off. Let's go.
There we go.
All about deals.
It's all about deals. I'm gonna look for a question here, unless you have one, Lizzie.
So with more music coming out eventually, what is the sound that you're kind of going for?
This record is a mix of sounds. If I wanted to have like the ideal band play this, it would probably be a 4 to 7 piece. Budget minded, obviously a 4 piece. But I really took a lot from, mixed so much on this record. Like, I went from like Lee. I went from, Elliott Smith. I did Lady Lamb. I used a lot of influences on this record. I even learned the banjo on this record. Shout out my banjo that took like 9 months to get. It's over there. I got a vocal coach. I learned the ukulele before even writing the record. So I don't want to waste time and like list every influence of every song, but like conceptually, what I was trying to do is let me think about all the bands that I fit in or under, because I'm very much a folk punk musician. But like I'm a folk punk musician that's like played with emo bands of Philly in the Northeast. I'm also a folk punk musician who's like done features with rappers. So like I've even used the Beastie Boys as an influence in this record. But I'm also like this guy that like has done rap features too. So I wanted to put all of those influences as a homage to all the people that made me feel like I had a musical home, and then add my influences and put that all together. So like the record starts off with like this explosions in the sky style synth with a string part, and I have like vocals layering with like an influence from Bon Iver. But like the record ends with like this like 2008 emo style Killers, this type of vibe. So that's kind of like what it is in my opinion. Like it's not like I don't know what I'm doing. I definitely do. But I wanted to like make the record feel like a playlist, because we're very much in the era of playlisting, and playlists haven't died. And I thought to myself, instead of making a record that has a consistent sound, how can I make a record that like, you know, it's the same person, but it feels like a playlist that you would have set up from 15 other, you know, bands that you like. And I added skits because I personally think DIY is skit deprived. I grew up listening to Wu-Tang Clan and a lot of, and like, you know, their Tribe Called Quest and stuff like that. And I feel like we need skits and diss tracks. So like I diss people that hate tacos on this record, you know, because tacos
as you should
have brought my, you know, because tacos have brought my like musical life to life, to be honest with you. And I did it with my partner, and you know, my partner's not a musician and she sings on it. And I have a track about coffee because like I've been sober for 7 years, but I haven't given up caffeine because I like joy in my life, you know? Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
What do you think about like being a multi-genre? It does. Being multi-genre in 2022, I feel like is a lot different than being multi-genre or making music of all different kinds, but as it has been in the past. Is like now people are just like sort of blending everything together, and they love everything, and it is very like you said, a playlist. It's very much like I'm putting together a playlist, and I like all different types of music, and I just want to hear stuff that makes me happy or makes me feel nostalgic. Like, what do you think about like being multi-genre now, and like how people are kind of reacting to having all different types of music together?
I think there's an intersection between people that are being multi-genre because like their favorite musician's doing it, and then people acknowledging the fact that they can't put themselves in the box anymore, and they have to go like, you know, concept to concept. Because I think in the past it was like, take Teen Suicide. Like I can't remember that dude's name, but like the singer of Teen Suicide has like 7 side projects, or even Tyler the Creator has all these like side projects to be Tyler the Creator, because there's Tyler the Creator, then he's like Wolf Haley, and then there's like Mellow Hype and all these other things. And it's like, I think monikers are definitely not dead, but I think a lot of multi genre artists are thinking like, why reinvent myself and like, you know, be like, you know, Mazzy Star and all that stuff, versus just having the same person but different umbrellas under different EPs and LPs. And that's kind of like how I see myself, because like, you know, Comfort in the Bedroom was my COVID record, so to speak, which was like this electronic hip hop but also folk record that was really trying to tell my story about how I hate the government for putting us in this situation, but instrumentally I'm trying to find peace in it. You know, Mega John was my way of saying, what happens when I write 15 cell phone demos, send them to some friends and see what happens? You know, So it's just like I'm always trying to experiment with myself, but I don't want to call each project like a different band name. Ain't nobody got time for that paperwork. At least I don't.
Yeah.
But some people do, and that's kind of like how I'm where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
So
I think in that way you show like you're more dimensional as like an artist in that way, and because you're able to kind of play around and maybe even like, I mean, you kind of describe yourself as like a folk punk artist because everybody has to put themselves in some genre to get booked. But if you're able to kind of flow like that, that's kind of like, I feel like what folk is in a sense. Like you have a lot of different instrumentation and it can blend and flow a lot. Like, I mean, when we think of folk punk, we probably think of like the Front Bottoms, and they have a lot of different instrumentation in their music that could really relate to a lot of different areas within the musical genre, like spectrum.
sure, very, very much true. I like that. Yep.
And then you also, aside from you just not having PR, like we kind of talked about, you are working with Your Mom Records, which is based out here in Chicago. So how did you kind of link up with them and get started with working with them?
Molly literally picked me up from the airport. We first got like, associated with each other via Twitter tweet where we were talking about inclusion. I don't even remember what I say on Twitter half the time, so I'm very impressed that you remember. But like we had a Zoom conversation, and I was hanging out with my friend Esther, who's someone I've collaborated with and will be collaborating with. And I just went to Chicago for fun. It was my first time going without playing a gig or whatever. And I was like, can anyone help me how to get from the airport to Southside? And Molly DMs me and goes, I could just give you a ride. I was like, all right. And then when I finally GPS'd it, I was like, wow, that would have been a $70 like Uber, right? Or just like a long train ride. And then we talked and things like that. And then Molly told me like, hey, I have this concept project called Your Mom Records, and I would like to like, do physical releases with you. And I was like, you know what? I've been on a label before and I trust you. So let's do the damn thing. So that's as simple as it got. So yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
You couldn't pay me to pick somebody up from the airport.
Oh my God.
It's like that's when you know that somebody is like, I like what you do. I'll come get you at the airport.
Yeah.
You're a good enough musician that somebody will take time out of their day to pick you up at the airport. I think that's a high praise level.
That felt great. Yeah.
Especially at least O'Hare out here. That is the hot mess airport.
That's where it was. Yep.
Yeah, that's a hot mess airport.
Couldn't pay me.
Yes, it is.
If I'm not related to you,
this is Philly. So yeah.
If I'm not related to you,
I'm not coming.
I get scared driving up there, so I just simply will not. Unless like you're dying or something, but I would hope you're not at an airport. I hope I just be like, all right, what hospital they putting your ass in? Let's go.
Yeah.
True.
Still a maybe for me. Let me ask a question from Instagram. This is from Taylor Kelly Music. And I like this question. What brings you the most joy?
I'll be honest, just performing. There's no such thing as a musician that does just one thing, because that's just not how the world works anymore. But if I could just do one thing, like in life, other than, eat, sleep, the needs, shout out to Maslow, I think it would just be performing. I like playing with small crowds. I like playing to large crowds. That's what I like. I think, we're in the era of like, this person's a producer. Honestly, fuck producing. Like, I love producing. I respect it. But like, I don't like looking at layers and going like, oh, the compression. No, I want to just perform. Like I know some people could be like, so I took a glue compression and I looked at the hertz and it was amazing. Like, nope, couldn't be me. I just like performing and talking.
Yo, when your hertz are in alignment, damn.
Yeah, I can't.
I have no idea.
You know,
I don't
listen,
know
as
any of that shit.
as a radio producer, I don't even look at the hertz. I just go solely based on vibes and sound and hope it's the best. And if somebody gets upset with me, I'll be like, why wasn't your original cut better then? Like, that sounds like a you problem.
Yeah, I'm all about vibes and performing. Yeah.
Let's ask one more question from Instagram. This one is from Molly of Your Mom Records, Malster Mash. What do you think the future of DIY looks like, and what's your biggest piece of advice for artists?
You know, thinking about like how I've booked a lot of this tour, I think the future of DIY is in virtual physical collaboration. I just made up that word. I don't know if that's a real word.
It could be.
Now.
What I mean by that is like I played this show earlier this year with someone who goes by the name of Folk Punk Dad, but their project's called St. Augustine's Day.
Wait, is that guy on
It was their
TikTok?
10-year sober anniversary. Yeah. He shouted me out a couple times, and I'm moving to Western Mass, like with my girlfriend, and, you know, just changing life, new songwriters, stuff like that. And he happens to live 45 minutes away from where my girlfriend's family lives. And he was like, do you want to play this show? And I was like, as long as I can get like, you know, basic costs covered, sure, let's do it. And like, you know, we met at his home and we had this whole conversation. And now with this tour, we're using both of our networks to like play in a couple cities across this US tour, because his route looks different than mine. But 3 dates, 3 dates intersect, you know? And I feel like the future of DIY is going to look like that, where you're going to meet people either via TikTok or via YouTube or via podcast or Twitter. And it's not so much like internet forums of the Facebook days or groups where it's like, I know you from a distance. It's more going to be like, I like what you're doing. Can you send me that guitar riff or that piano part so I could do something? I like what you're doing. Do you need a place to stay when you play this date, et cetera, et cetera? Because, like, I'm just thinking about a lot of my shows pre-tour. Like, I'm playing with Ashley, Virginia, and that only happened because I used to have an open mic series on Instagram. And a lot of people from TikTok came to that open mic series, and that was during a time no one could play. The show that I'm playing in Baltimore, like this upcoming Wednesday, that's an organic connection. That's a lie. I'm sorry. But my show in DC, that's both a TikTok connection as well as an in-person connection. Because Cinema Hearts, also known as Caroline Weinroth, found me via TikTok, but little did I know was BFF with someone I had been gigging with for years, you know? So my whole point here is like, I think the future of DIY is going to be more interconnectedness, and like instead of 7 degrees from Kevin Bacon, we're going to be more like 1 or 2 degrees of the bacon. Wait, okay. Kids don't know who Kevin Bacon is, but you guys do, so you know what I mean.
I do. I love me and my best friend watch The Following, so we can watch Kevin Bacon cry in the shower and rate it because it's very funny.
Yeah. And I mean, just to like put things in the further. Oh my God, that was funny. I just realized what you really said. But to put things into perspective, one of the track singles that I recorded for a project, my friend Sam, she was the first person to ever tell me like, hey, you should collaborate with people. And she gave me an opportunity to collaborate. She just became Grammy Award winning because she did vocal engineering for Jasmine Sullivan.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, I'm not doing that to humble brag. I'm doing that to, like, illustrate someone that I worked with is now won a Grammy, and, like, I'm still in contact with them. And now people could be like, all right, I'm 1 degree of separation from this. And I could learn from, like, what they did to get to where they're at. Or, like, I've worked with Bartees Strange. Bartees is the first person that got me, like, an actually successful New York show. And, like, granted, we're not in touch because of schedules. But the point is, like, we're still in touch with each other. But that all happened because of the internet. You got what I'm saying? Mm. So it's just, like, I think because of the pandemic, because of like the way we connect or communicate with each other, we're just going to be living in this world of interconnectedness, which hopefully leads to more collaboration and empathy and you know, laughing.
I feel like it's only natural and like for it to go that way because that's just how you meet people in general. Instead of like going out, because I know that I've met people for the first time over the last like 5 years even that I've only met online, and we could still live in like the Chicagoland area and I could never meet them. This happened when I went to House of Blues one night. One of our friends was DJing there and they invited me, and I met their photographer, and we've been mutuals for 5 years on the internet. And she lives between Ohio and here. Now she's in Chicago. And I never met her in person until like a month ago. And
Wow.
I just think it's so wild and like it's just so needed to do it, which
Yeah.
what comes back to, you know, internet is a basic need. So there's that too. Just so you can kind of like develop yourself as a person within, you know, whatever you work in.
I completely agree with that. And I like that story because it kind of like goes to why I wrote Show Friends. I wrote that song because I've realized the more I toured, the more I met people from the internet or people that had been following me and said things to me like, I feel like I've been your friend forever just from following you. And at first it creeped me out. And then as time went on, I embraced it because of exactly what you said. Like, we have these interconnected like relationships with people that make us feel like we're part of a chosen family. And it's like from like hanging out with Allie at a Denny's in Ohio. Allie, if you're listening, you know exactly what I'm talking about, to eating string in Chinatown, Chicago with my friend Matt, who I know from high school, you know, being able to talk to people about what, you know, they've been up to with their passions. Cause like Matt is a videographer, kind of like glues all the funny, cool things about life together. And yeah, I like that you said that.
Now, when you went to Strings, did you also do the spicy challenge like I did? And then were you also Boo Boo the Fool like I was and hurt myself doing it?
That's exactly what happened.
Let's go!
Oh, boy.
Yes. yeah. I cried. So, yeah.
Boy.
My friend
wow,
literally
Lord.
was filming me and Snapchatting it to our group chat. Like, look what this idiot did. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I
it's
just wanted the spice. And she was like, you sit there and eat it all and you think about it.
No, that's exactly it. Yeah.
We're almost at an hour, so what we're going to do is we're going to give you a chance to toss out all of your plugs where everybody can find you and get all the information about the upcoming shows and all that. But we are going to ask the rest of the questions from Instagram over on Twitch. So if your question didn't get answered, you should have been at the stream, you know, because then you would know.
You got to get here.
But that's on you. Why don't you tell us where everybody can find you on the internet, where everybody can listen to you, check out when those concert dates are posted near their city, or just reach out to help you get a booking in their area.
Certainly. So just areas that I'm looking for right now are Montana, St. Louis, Nebraska, and yeah, that's it. Everywhere else is covered.
Okay.
And South Carolina. Those are the four. Those are the four areas that I'm looking for. But yeah, you can find me under A Day Without Love on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, the whole nine. I'm on Spotify. If you want to get, you know, laugh cuts of the record, you can pre-order on Your Mom Records or adaywithoutlove.bandcamp.com. Got plenty of merch. I've got prints of the album art available on my website at adaywithoutlove.com. And I will be announcing more show dates via Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and my website. I'll be updating my Bands in Town /Songkick. So keep your emails open or subscribe to my email list. And everything's under A Day Without Love. So yeah.
So you don't need a PR. You just did it all yourself. And it's
see?
like,
Hey, I'm doing my best.
perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're one of the only bands that we've had on that has promoted their website, like not just their Instagram
or
Twitter.
has a website. It's very few and far, I feel.
Yeah.
So go to websites, people. Like just check out a website.
A whole website.
You can make them. Now it's our ad toss to Squarespace. God, I wish, but it's not.
Hey, Squarespace looks okay. Never mind.
It's not. Do you have an idea or no? So we are going to continue chatting over on Twitch. We'll answer the rest of these questions from Instagram. But if you are listening to this and you haven't checked out any of the music, then this is your chance. This is your time. This is your opportunity. We're recording this a little bit earlier than the release of Show Friends, but if you're listening to this and Show Friends is out, 1,000 streams.
You should already be listening to it.
Yeah, 1,000 streams per person, which means we're going to get you that $2,000 a month, so you can just buy PR.
Buy a whole PR.
You can buy just a PR firm. Yeah, you're going to be.
God.
You're going to be a company owner all of a sudden.
You're gonna be like, hey, Walker Sands, come over here right now.
That would be a lot.
I went from wanting support in getting my music into ears to having responsibility. This sucks.
Yeah,
listen,
that's a game changer.
Or you can buy the penguins to listen to your music in Antarctica.
This is all for the penguins. It's
all for the penguins.
I play music.
All for the penguins. Okay, let's continue talking over on Twitch. But for the recording, Brian, weird saying my own name out loud. Brian, this is a lot of fun. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
Anytime.